ACTIVISION presents a smashing blast from the past. Developed by Vicarious Visions. It's Crash Bandicoot!
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Let's Play Crash Bandicoot. This is going to be the remade version of Crash 1 from the recently released Insane trilogy, featuring the first 3 Crash games. If you were not lucky enough to grow up with Crash, having that part of your childhood, or if the remake passed you by, Crash was an early PS1 era Sony mascot, and this is a series of just wonderful, charming lever platformers. And we're going to start the series with Crash Bandicoot 1.
But, Dr. Cortex, we haven't determined the cause of past failures.
Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general, and he will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination. This time, I shall reign triumphant. We are closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex.
Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do.
Failure again. Capture him!
Uh-oh.
Prepare the female Bandicoot.
Jesus, this remake is gorgeous. Also, you can see the Wumpa fruits through the crates. You couldn't see that in the original. This is a small little detail. So we have our spin, which is an offensive move, and we have our basic jump. In Crash 1, our moveset's fairly limited. They expand upon that in Crash 2 and 3 a little bit, and Wrath of Cortex. But for the time being, like, I don't think we get the slide, I don't think we get the body slam in this one. We do have Aku Aku, of course, series staple. He will act as our additional hit points. For every Aku Aku mask we collect, we can take 1 additional hit. Once we have 3, we turn invincible for a short period of time, like in the Stars of Mario. And anything that we just merely run into will shatter, or enemies will be sent flying immediately. The effect also lasts a fairly long time. And then once it runs out, we'll be back to having 2 Aku Aku masks. We trigger this crate, which makes the ethereal ones... we missed one. Can't really go back for that. Made them corporeal? That's more like talking about it like a ghost terminology. So with the Aku Aku mask, we can take 2 hits, plus a 3rd one, which will result in death. With no masks, you cannot take a single hit. Pits are still death traps, even with the Aku Aku masks. And we are not going for 100% in any of the Crash games. I'm just going to get that out of the way now. 100%ing normally involves smashing every crate in a level. Not going to be going for that. Let's see, in addition to the spin, our basic platforming, and our jumping and all that, we also have Wumpa fruits we can get. They're called apples in Japan. And if we collect 100 of them, we get an extra life. And yeah, Crash, even in the Insane Trilogy remake, is still a life-based platformer. Crash 1, I would have to say, is my least favorite of the 4. I think Crash kind of finds its personality as a series in 2, but being the worst of the 4 just means that it's slightly less fantastic than the others. It's still fantastic. I can't really put my finger on what it is about Crash 1, but I think the tone is a little bit different. It feels a little more solemn. I'm not sure if that's the right way to word it. It was a little more reserved. I think they brought the remake version of Crash 1 a little more in line with like the personality and the tone of 2 and Warped and Wrath of Cortex. And I should mention Twin Sanity with those 4. Because Twin Sanity, while not as good as the first 4, is, oh, I got all of them in a row, is pretty underrated. And, let's see, this TNT, if we spin it, we spin it, it blows up immediately. Normally, if you jump on the TNT, it'll start a countdown from 3 and then blow up. But we had a Aku mask, and we still have one left over, so not too bad. These are Coco bonus tokens. If we get all 3, it will unlock a bonus level. This one is just a real super simple introductory one. I think all of the bonuses in this game are side-scrollers, which brings me to the next thing that you should know about Crash games, is that they tend to have a few level types. You have your straightforward, linear, 3D platforming courses like this one. There are 2.5D levels. There are chase levels, where you're running away from something coming towards the camera. And then there are animal levels, where it's designed like an auto-scroller. Oh, I love that animation so much. I think he gets progressively more disoriented the more crates you let fall on him. Like, the more crates you miss. Yeah, and you have the animal levels where you're riding something and it's an auto-scroller. And then you have the boss fight levels, which are usually pretty fantastic. Like, everything in these games just oozes charm and personality. I love them. I think this is going to be a 2.5D level. We're going to get all of the major level types before the first boss, with the exception of one. I think we have to do some work to unlock the first animal riding level, which is called Hog Wild, and features the best song on the whole soundtrack. And you can tell by the glow how many hits the Aku mask will take. There's our first Coco token for the level. I think if we jump off of the backs of the turtle, it will not kill them, but we will get some height off of it, which will be useful for reaching something later on. Man, the motion blur in this is super impressive. The saturation and the depth of the color is also something that's like, it strikes me as really being a big relief, because early screenshots of Remastered were just as pretty from a visual fidelity point of view, but the color was a little bit washed out in some of those early screenshots, so it's nice to see the color really pop. Like, it's very vibrant. We have one of these dudes who will mostly just push us back and we run into him with a shield, but we can also jump on his head and use that to get a little boost. Also, this moss on the slopes will cause us to slide down it if we stop moving. It also slows us down as we run up the slope. Oh shit. Just an inch to the right, it would push me into that small gap into my death. This is a cool one over here. The flame pit and the spike and the moss. Just makes that a little bit more urgent to get through. We haven't seen much of the difficulty spike yet, but Crash 1 is also the hardest of the bunch. Like, I think by a pretty decent margin, it's the hardest Crash Bandicoot game. Or at least in the ones I'm familiar with. Mainly those being the first 4. And I played some of the others just to, like Crash of the Titans, just to realize, oh man, I hate this. And Twin Sanity, which I said before is underrated. But yeah, this being somewhat difficult. Cue the myriad Crash Bandicoots, the Dark Souls of platformers jokes. Fuck that noise, it's so stupid. I hate that. I hate how that's become a thing. For so many reasons. Because it further synonymizes Dark Souls with difficulty, which is not the point of Souls games. I've said that over and over in my Souls LPs. And just the idea that that's the core defining feature of a Souls game. Therefore, anything difficult is Souls-like. That's so stupid. It's such a dumbass concept. I do love the Wikipedia edit, though, of the timeline of Dark Souls releases. And it's Dark Souls 1 and 2, and then DS3 in 2016, and then in 2017, Crash Bandicoot, and then Cuphead. This is our first chase level, called Boulder. This is also probably a first level that we're going to get all the crates, just because it's really easy in these levels, especially this first one. Oh my god, these animations are lovely in the remake. And now, keep in mind, even in the original, a lot of these animations were hugely detailed. And again, they ooze personality, they ooze charm. I think they actually pulled the camera out a little bit further. It's been a little bit, like, probably 2 years or so since I played Crash 1 on the PS1. But I remember the camera being a little bit more closely cropped, so that you had less time to react to what was in front of you, which is the primary challenge of these chase levels. Here, you ideally want to follow the Wumpa Fruit in order to not run into one of the posts, but if you follow the Wumpa Fruit, you won't get to the crates that you can smash if you're going for 100%. Yeah, you have a lot more time to react, it feels like. Might just be crazy. That clear gem that we got is for clearing 100% of the crates. Perfect. We will get a clear gem every time we 100% the crates in a level. And we'll get that awesome I have to show some of the death animations off too, because those are also really good. It's not quite RE4 levels of like insane variety in the death animations, but there are a lot. There are some good ones. I think we'll have a perfect run up to the first boss, and then we'll start showing some of those off. Also, you may have seen the key icon just below the clear gem. The keys will come into play much later. There are a couple of very specific levels which have keys in them, which will unlock certain levels. One of those being Hog Wild, like I mentioned. Oops. Thought I was close enough to just pick that up. I drifted right past it. The lily pads you saw sink into the water. So you have to be a little bit quick getting off of them, and then they will eventually come back. And the other thing we're watching... Jesus, the water looks great. Also, a unique soundtrack. I've never quite heard anything like the soundtracks in the Crash games. Some of these fly traps, you have to watch the color of them. That will clue you in as to when they're going to snap shut. Like those ones that you saw before, snap shut on contact. The purple ones, like that, are on a timer. Oh, shit, I ran into a piranha. Jeez, I have such fond childhood memories of this series and staying home from school with like the chicken pox when I was little, and letting this series soothe me. I love Crash so much. Like, I was nearly moved to tears when I was watching, was it PSX or E3 that they announced that they were bringing Crash back. I've been waiting for that announcement for so long. Oops. Nearly cried. I think I straight up cried when they announced the Shadow of the Colossus remake, but that's a story for another time. But don't get it twisted, like, this is a great series, and Crash 1 is a great game. There's more to it than the nostalgia that I'm espousing, but I'd be lying if I said nostalgia doesn't play any role in my fondness here. Like, it was a huge part of my childhood. But the game stands on its own merits, and that's the important thing to take away from this. And coming up, as we load into the Wumpa Islands, once again, we should be coming up to, Papu Papu, who is the first boss. Now, in the original North American and European version of Crash Bandicoot, Papu Papu had 3 points of health. In the Japanese version, he had 5 hit points, and he became faster and more aggressive over time. This is his primary method of attacking. Each point of health you take off of him increases his speed. However, there is a trick to him in that he has no invincibility period once he starts that animation up. And we're not going to do that for the 5th hit, because I just want to give an idea of how much faster he gets. He also does more revelations around the room before he does that big strike. The Insane version is partially based on the old Japanese version of the PS1 game, which is why he had 5 hit points, they got faster and faster as we did damage to him there. From here, the difficulty is going to ramp up quite a bit. But I think that is going to do it for now. We've got a really, really nice look at Crash Bandicoot, the Insane remake. That's going to do it for now. Oh, I'm so excited to keep going with this. Love Crash so much. Take it easy. Have a good one, everyone.